Hey, what's going on, guys? Butterbar here. Welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be a fun video. I want to have a fun, entertaining time doing this commentary. I'm actually looking forward to it, quite frankly. But today's video is actually based off of the idea that CharlieIntel posted on Twitter yesterday, and it was talking about what are the best Call of Duty games of the past 10 years. What are your most favorite Call of Duty moments? What's your favorite Call of Duty games of the past 10 years, the past decade? And to me, honestly, just saying that, dude, we're about to go into 2020. It's literally just a few days away of going into a new decade and kind of looking back in the past 10 years. My life has changed. I imagine your guys' life has changed. I know I've gone through a lot of things in the past 10 years, and honestly, just thinking back of the Call of Duty games that I enjoyed over the past 10 years, and the memories around those type of games, it made me really think and really kind of reflect on what has happened in my life and what has happened throughout this decade. And honestly, I just want to give you guys my opinion about what I think, as I see as my favorite Call of Duty games throughout the year, throughout the decade of the 2010s. So really what I want to do, instead of giving you guys like a full breakdown, I'll actually show up the list that CharlieIntel showed, and it showed literally every single Call of Duty game, from Call of Duty Black Ops 1 all the way to this year's release with Modern Warfare. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go and give you guys a breakdown of, you know, top 10 to 1 or whatever. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to break down my top 5. I'll give you guys my top 5 Call of Duty games that I enjoyed over the past 10 years, and honestly, I'm looking at the list of the past 10 years. Man, we gotta had a few stinkers. I think there's some games out there that I think some people enjoyed, but man, I'm looking at this list and going, man, we really didn't do that great. There's some Call of Duty games on here that they're not that great. So I want to give you guys my breakdown of what is my thinking process, what was kind of going through my life as these Call of Duty games were coming out, and the reason why I've kind of placed them in my top 10 or top 5 list of Call of Duty games throughout the past 10 years. So I will go with my number 5. My number 5 would actually be Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, this game came out with Infinite Warfare, which I think Infinite Warfare, you know, it's just, look, if you're playing Infinite Warfare, I feel like you're kind of missing out on the Titanfall 2 games. The Titanfall 2 games were amazing. Back in 2016, the Titanfall 2 game released in between Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1. And I feel like if you're playing Infinite Warfare, you're just kind of playing like a bastard version of Titanfall 2. So Titanfall 2 was a lot of fun. The fact that Modern Warfare Remastered was actually booked in with Infinite Warfare, like if you got Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered was actually attached to that. That was pretty much the only way they were going to be able to sell Infinite Warfare. To me, it was a great game. It was a great remaster of seeing what a game that I actually grew up with when I was going through college, and seeing that revolution, that reimagining, well, I guess not reimagining, but remake, and seeing the redone graphics and everything kind of updated. It made me kind of relive the memories of back when, you know, 2007 when it came out. So it was a really cool thing to actually see the updated graphics, to see the multiplayer again and play it. And even though there was some goofy stuff with, you know, the microtransactions of BS and new weapons being added to it, it was still kind of a cool thing to relive the campaign, but also relive the multiplayer and the fun that actually was to be had in that game. Not so much with this Modern Warfare game. This Modern Warfare game is not that great. The fact that a remastered version actually did a lot better and is a lot more fun than the new version, but the remastered version I really enjoyed, and that has to be my 5. All right. Number 4, I gotta say World War II, man. Call of Duty World War II, I will say this. In the beginning, World War II, not that great. Not that great. Wasn't really impressed. Campaign was, it was okay. It was iffy. You know, the D-Day invasion, that was pretty cool. The multiplayer, though, man, it was rough. It was rough. It was rough. I know they were doing the whole boot camp thing, and the way they actually build up the classes, it wasn't that great. But I will say this, man. When this game actually got a fix, and when it actually got an overhaul to the multiplayer, dude, it is a fun-ass game, man. World War II, Call of Duty World War II is a fun multiplayer experience, and with the addition, you have, you know, zombies, you have the campaign. It's just a really fun game, and that I really enjoyed. I'm an old-school guy. I like boots on the ground, unless, you know, I'm playing Titanfall 2 and I run on the walls and whatnot with the Titans and stuff. But when it comes to Call of Duty games, really enjoyed it. World War II, after the overhaul to the multiplayer, I think it's a really great game, and I couldn't recommend it more to players that are wanting to kind of have a more fun experience in multiplayer. Maybe Modern Warfare might get the reimagining or the overhaul that World War II got later on in its life cycle, but yeah, that overhaul definitely saved that game, and it's definitely a really fun game overall. Now, this actually might come to a surprise for a lot of people, and it is kind of a, I know it's kind of in a weird placing. So 2012, I was in the military. I was an Army officer when I was in, and 2012 was just kind of a rough year because that is when my wife actually deployed to Afghanistan. So it was a rough time, man. It really was rough, and she came home around September timeframe. So my build-up and hype for Black Ops 2 really was not there, and Black Ops 2 is actually my number 3, just because my mind was in a completely different place. Not saying that Black Ops 2 it was not a fun game. You know, eventually coming around to playing it, it was a very fun, entertaining game. The fact that you had an expansion to the Black Ops 1 storyline with multiple different areas to go around, and the multiplayer again still being a very fun, entertaining multiplayer that I think a lot of people would say as an overall over the past 10 years has actually been the best multiplayer experience. Now again, my mind was someplace else. It was definitely not focused too much on video games at the time, but I will say this, that in the top 5 lists, at the top 3 lists, Black Ops 2 is definitely on there as one of those games that again was a very enjoyable, fun experience as a Call of Duty player that, again, really kind of looking at the list of different games, I don't know if we'll actually see, you know, entertaining multiplayer games like this to where you are not getting you're not getting bamboozled, or you're not getting penalized for being a good player and trying to do as well as you possibly can in a multiplayer. But you know, freaking if you were rocking in Black Ops 2, you were definitely rocking and being rewarded for doing well. All right, so now this will be strange. I know that number 3 was Black Ops 2, but I'm going to say the next one is Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1, I was in college 2009. Or sorry, 2010. Jesus, my God, I'm trying to think of when this stuff was coming out. 2010, and God, I have to say this, Black Ops 1, you know, for the past couple of years, you know, with Modern Warfare, with World at War, and then you had Modern Warfare 2, the campaigns were actually pretty solid. The campaigns and the Call of Duty games are really on point, really good, but man, when Black Ops 1 came out with their amazing gameplay and their amazing campaign, as well as the multiplayer, they hit a home run. Black Ops 1 was a great invigoration of not only never covering the Vietnam War, never to this day, you know, up until then, you know, the Vietnam War was never covered in a video game, or at least I can't remember a video game covering it like Black Ops 1 did, but that was really badass. It was really cool that they covered that, because I'm kind of, you know, my dad was a Vietnam vet, and I'm kind of seeing through the eyes of, you know, at least with a Call of Duty game, but seeing through the eyes of a soldier that was in Vietnam during that time, and it's just, again, a really cool thing to kind of look back and kind of relate to my own life of having not only my father but my father-in-law being Vietnam veterans is something that's kind of just a really cool thing to kind of relate to, and at the time being like, hey Dad, you want to check this out, and you want to see what was it Treyarch was making at the time. Here, this is what they're imagining Vietnam was like, and kind of getting his perspective. So Black Ops 1, not only with the campaign and having Sam Worthington and all these other different types of was it Sam Worthington? Yeah, Sam Worthington. I can't remember who else the other actors were. The fact that they had actors in there from popular movies and whatnot was a really cool thing to have in Black Ops 1. And the multiplayer, to me, I thought it was really good. Treyarch with Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 had amazing maps, and you had the introduction of Nuketown in Black Ops 1, Firing Range, a lot of classic maps that we've been seeing brought in through the years to other Call of Duty games. Again, Black Ops 1, again, I think really nailed it with a good campaign, with a great multiplayer, as well as with zombies, expanding on the idea of that from World at War. Now, for my top 1, this might surprise you, but again, I'm kind of going off the memories, the experiences I was kind of going through with life at the time, and that would be my top 1 would be Modern Warfare 3. Now, Modern Warfare 3 was released back in 2011. This was literally beginning my army days. I got commissioned in May of 2011. I began my army career around June and July, so I was in that mindset of military stuff. So I really did enjoy Modern Warfare 3, kind of being able to relate to it as being an army officer in current time war. I think I think the continuation and the ending of Makarov in the Modern Warfare 3 storyline was really good. The multiplayer, not only with kill streaks, but with support kill streaks, I think were great additions that allowed players to play all different types of ways. And you weren't the skill-based matchmaking that we have currently in this game. You were not punished whatsoever. If you did good, you were a good player. If you did badly, well, the support kill streaks were there to help you out. Specialist was introduced, so you got to use that. And also, too, survival was not wasn't behind a paywall or behind a certain platform you own. So that was a really cool thing. And Spec Ops again was another thing that expanded upon as well as Modern Warfare 3. So Modern Warfare 3 had a great campaign and ending to a really good story, and the multiplayer was really good and rewarding no matter what type of playstyle you wanted. As well as too with the Spec Ops, the missions, the classic missions, as well as survival, nothing was really hidden away from players, and there was a laundry list of different weapons that Modern Warfare 3 had. So Modern Warfare 3 is definitely my top 1. So those are my top 5, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really would love to know from you guys, what do you guys think about the list of Call of Duty games throughout the decade? Please let me know in the comments below, what is your list? What are your Call of Duty games in the past 10 years that you have found enjoyable, that you love, and continue to appreciate over these past 10 years? So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys all next time.